This should not be happening in a wealthy country like Australia.
We're a country that's pretty well off, right? And we've got people living like this.
We've got a big problem here in Australia, and I don't know where in the world you are, but in Australia, this has become a really, really big problem.
We've got women with situations where they're more safer on the street than they are in their own home.
Yo, so I'm officially homeless.
Australia's rental crisis isn't just bad, it's basically permanent.
Homelessness in Australia.
Aussies are now paying a record chunk of their income just to keep a roof over their heads.
So this is where you live?
You see the tents, the sleeping bags, the faces behind cardboard signs, and you think, how did it get this bad? But this isn't a glitch, it's a blueprint. Australia's homelessness crisis didn't appear out of nowhere, it was built, brick by brick, policy by policy, year after year of government neglect, housing deregulation, and inflation left to run wild while wages stood still. People aren't homeless because they're broken, they're homeless because the system is. Because rent exploded, because public housing vanished, because mental health services were gutted, because inflation turned groceries into luxuries and shelter into a gamble. And the government? They watched it happen. They called it complex. They blamed the economy. They blamed the individual. They blamed everything except themselves. This isn't just a housing issue, it's a national disgrace. A country this wealthy should not have people sleeping in cars, in parks, under bridges. But here we are. And the message is clear. If you're poor, vulnerable, or unlucky in Australia, you don't get help. You get ignored. You get priced out. You get left behind. And the worst part, they still call it unfortunate, as if it's fate, as if it's random, as if it wasn't designed this way. Because let's be honest, this didn't happen by accident. It happened because housing became a business, because governments stopped building homes and started selling them, because landlords were given free rein to raise rents while wages flatlined, because inflation was allowed to devour paychecks while politicians gave speeches about resilience. And now, the consequences are everywhere. Families living in tents, workers sleeping in their cars, seniors couch surfing, young people giving up on independence. And still, the government insists the system is under pressure. No, the system is collapsing. And the people being crushed by it, they're not invisible, they're just inconvenient. This is Australia's homelessness crisis, built by policy, fueled by greed, ignored by power. And it's not just a tragedy, it's a warning. Because when shelter becomes a luxury, society starts to unravel. And right now, it's unraveling fast.
This is a grim snapshot of Queensland's homelessness crisis. Tent cities are springing up across the state. Some people camping here are working families who can't find a rental. Not far away is Stephen sleeping rough under this bridge. Tell me how long you've been living on the streets and what kind of got you here.
Since 2019, the floods. It's just cost of living, rent. I lost my job. When I had the accident in the car, I lost my job. Lost the car, couldn't get to work, lost my job, and everything just went downhill.
Have you seen more and more tents popping up?
Yeah, heaps, yeah. It's shocking, it's not right, just the way. There wasn't many at the time, but now there's heaps, but you go walking in bushes, places, and you just seem to just everywhere. Poor buggers, yeah. I feel for them sometimes, so.
Harass homeless people, you're fucking hanging.
How does this happen? Can someone please explain how this can happen? Why is our government and system so fucked that we've got 3 lads, aged 11, 12 and 13, sleeping in a fucking bin? Why is our government blowing money on dumb shit that doesn't need to be spent while we've got this going on? Alright, South Australia, for example, we waste money on a fucking pigeon and Rundle Mall, where our government could be fucking spending money on homeless people. Alright, the council could be spending money on homeless people. No kid needs to be homeless, and this did not need to happen. The system is fucked and needs repairing. Also, rest in peace to this young fella, and I hope the truck driver and the family of the young lad get all the support they need, and the government are responsible. Fix it.
Homeless people are different in Australia. I'm a Canadian who's lived in Australia for 8 months now. And I'm not saying that all homeless people in Australia are like this or do this, but this is just a crazy thing that happened to me today. I was just walking down the CBD and this guy approached me and he just asked me if I had any change on me. I have my debit card, that's it. Do you know what the homeless guy did? He full on whips out an FPOS machine. Like, I'm talking Visa, MasterCard, you name it, he collects it. I'm just curious, is this like a regular or normal occurrence, or am I just crazy? Let me know if this is normal.
This should not be happening in a wealthy country like Australia. Devastatingly, stories like this, boys, are not unique, and they are a result of a completely broken housing, homelessness, and child support system. In fact, a report out recently has found that in 1 year alone in Australia, about 76,000 kids sought help from homelessness support services. Of that 76,000, 25,000 were homeless even after going through those support systems. On top of that 25,000, another 20,000 kids were turned away by homelessness services because they are chronically underfunded and completely overwhelmed. I'll say it again, this should not be happening in a wealthy country like Australia. The last line in this report really hits home for me. This is a system that's forgotten how to care. And that doesn't just apply to the residential care system, it also applies to our entire housing and homelessness system. How is it that over the next 10 years, property investors will get $176 billion in tax handouts from the government? How is it that the Commonwealth Bank can make a $10 billion profit in the middle of a housing crisis? But apparently the federal government and state governments do not have enough funding to ensure things like this will never happen again. The really frustrating thing for us and the Greens is that we have the solutions, and all it requires is political will and funding. And if you think this boy's life matters, and I think everyone in this country does and should, then we should agree that we should be fully funding our homelessness support services. We'd ensure that when boys like this encounter situations like this, not only do they have a good home to move into, not only do they have good and well-funded homelessness support services, so those 20,000 kids aren't turned away because there's not enough funding or support, but they have access to good carers, well-funded social workers, mental health support. We can do it. We're a wealthy country, but it requires political and economic will, and that's what the Greens are fighting for.
Homelessness in Australia looks like having to decide between three options: living out of caravan parks and motels for anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a week, potentially being able to buy a $12,000 piece of land with your tax, but not having enough money to put anything on the land, and buying a caravan so that you have a roof over your head, but not having to put anywhere, being able to put anywhere, like the caravan anywhere, so you're still spending money on places to put the caravan, but less money than if you were to rent out like a cabin at a caravan park. Or because we were given a rental, paid the bond, signed the lease, and had them renege because of possible asbestos. And there's no other rentals that will take us because we're a family of 7. We are too big for most of the houses, and we have a newborn.
You wake up in your car, you brush your teeth at a petrol station, you put on your uniform, clock in, and serve customers with a smile, all while hiding the fact that you don't have a home. This isn't fiction. This is Australia in 2025. Tens of thousands of Australians are working and still homeless. Full-time workers, aged care staff, retail employees, hospitality workers, people who do everything right and still can't afford a roof over their heads. Why? Because rent has skyrocketed, because wages haven't kept up, because the government let the housing market become a casino and the house always wins. And when these people ask for help, They're told to contact services that are underfunded, overwhelmed, and turning people away daily. The waiting list for public housing, years long, emergency shelters, full. And the government, they're still calling this a challenge. No, this is a humanitarian failure, a national disgrace. A country that lets its workers sleep in cars while billionaires buy their fifth investment property isn't doing its best. It's doing damage.
We'll start with your name.
My name's David. I used to come to Shepparton when I was a little kid here. I was a track rider at Tatchura racetrack. I got married at 23-year-old, and then I was having a baby, and we were living on my property out at the pepper mill, and we were living in the shed. And when we got married, we were having a baby. My wife was having a baby. Well, to cut the story short, she passed away, and the baby brought that on. And that was on the 5th of March, 93. And she's buried out here at Pine Lodge, her and my son. And God love the lady. When we were down in Monash Hospital, I heard the surgeon say to her parents, my parents, well, if she didn't have the kid, she'd be still alive. Well, when I heard that, I buried him, and I haven't come back for 30-odd years. So, and I've been punishing myself for too long because I thought I killed my wife. Yeah, it's hard to... I've never been on housing list. I've been to jail and all that. Not for bad things. I lost my mum and dad, my sister, while I was during my incarceration. And things are still tough for me these days, but I need to speak to people, but I don't let it out. I go deeper into the forest when I need help or something. I can help people, but I can't help myself. So I'm homeless because I have some psychological things that I need to get off my chest, and a job would help me, and some ID to get my license and all that. You know, get things going, and a job maybe so that they can look at a resume and on a housing or a flat would be a lot helpful. So that's all I have to say for the moment. And I've got my brother down with me now, and he ain't too well. And yeah, we've got some issues with his illness, but we're getting there. We're getting there with these men here that are helping me.
How else can people help you?
Well, really, I need to help ourselves. We need to go and see people like you. Housing. I've never done that. I've never had a bill in my life. When I lost my mum and dad, wife and son, I just buried myself away from everyone. I can't talk to people. I get scared and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, I've got to help myself too.
Thank you for sharing your story today.
You're welcome.
Hey, free pizza here.
Hey, good name, sir.
Free pizza for you, mate. What's your name? What's your name?
Dave.
Dave. There you go, mate.
I think that might be a pepperoni or barbecue chicken.
Hey, Mob's doing one down here.
Barbecue chicken and free pizza.
Where's the other guy? There you go.
Thanks.
Australia's rental crisis isn't just bad, it's basically permanent. And no, that's not an exaggeration. According to Core Logic, Aussies are now paying a record chunk of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Rents have exploded literally up to 50% since the pandemic, and developers are saying the pain has barely started. In fact, some developers have stated that this crisis could last another 15 years, even if the government comes in and tries to fix it tomorrow, which, spoiler alert, they won't. And why? It's literally simple economics. Vacancy rates are around 1%. Construction is the lowest it has been in a decade, and population growth is off the charts. 188,000 new immigrants arrived in just the last 3 months. International students and graduate visas are at a record high, all while the housing market is still crumbling. But here's the thing, this might not just be poor planning, this could be political. The Labor government has every incentive to keep immigration high. And why is that? It's because the biggest immigrant voting bloc, Indian Australians, overwhelmingly vote for the Labor Party. So don't expect Albo's government to moderate anything. They're not going to fix the rental crisis. They are literally fueling it. because to them, immigration is a vote bank. But for you, it's skyrocketing rent, packed inspections, and no way out. This isn't just mismanagement, this is political choice. And unless we speak up, this rental crisis won't just continue, it will define a generation.
Imagine being an educated woman in your 50s and you've got a breadth of life experience, you've had your children, you're looking for work and you can't find work and you have to rely on government assistance. And government assistance is just over $500 a week, but rent is $500 a week. How do you survive? This is the story of a woman that I heard on an ABC program. I just caught a snippet of it on TikTok actually. I wish I saved it because it was so heartbreaking. This woman was in her 50s and studying for her master's degree. Her two adult 18-year-old twins had to support her, had to give her money so that she could pay her life expenses, and her very generous ex-husband was also helping to support her. It's not what she wanted. She was out looking for work. She was regularly out looking for work, just getting knocked back because of her age. And someone told her, I think it might have been someone in recruitment, said, well, why don't you lie about your age? You should take 10 to 15 years off. So she did that. She got herself an interview. When she walked into the interview, she said, he looked at me, the person that was interviewing her looked at me with so much disgust. So what do you do when you're that age and you want to work and you're trying so hard and you cannot get by? If this woman didn't have her 18-year-old sons to help her and ex to help her, this is how women in that era of life become homeless. Did you know, I heard this fact many years ago that 1 in 4 women in retirement age are living in poverty. And I've been single for like who knows how long, and I freaked out at that statistic and I was like, I really hope that's not me. At the time I didn't own a home. I was so scared, like being in a rental and having the insecurity of not knowing if you're going to get kicked out of 12 months or whether the rent is going to increase and you can't afford it and you're then not able to find something else. It's so terrifying and people are really freaking struggling. So I don't know what to say about this except it's horrific. And if you're someone in that situation, I really feel for you. Australia has gotten... It's so hard to get by here, even if you are earning a decent income. I don't know, like what are people going to do, especially at that age of life, that phase of life?
Yo, so I'm officially homeless and I want to show you what it's like travelling around Australia and what I have to do to be comfortable. First things first is the bedroom. So I used to stay in a King Daddy Deluxe swag, which is now just a mattress inside of the canopy. And that is underneath 2 drawers and a wooden shelf. I must say it is a lot more comfortable than a swag and you still got heaps of space, which is good. And another is that it does have a cage, which makes me feel extra safe. And the only thing that is annoying is that it can get a little bit hot, but that's fine. You just push this over, and I do have a little curtain that gives me extra privacy as well as a movie that I can watch. Fuck me, there's only a lot of fucking people. Sorry about that last bit. Sometimes I can get a little bit frustrated. And that's how I get out. If you're wondering what was in these drawers before, this is literally my kitchen essentials that everybody needs while they're camping. Trust me, it's all in there, anything and everything. And this is another little pantry that I have. It's got my pots and my plates, and some other little pantry shit that you'll find. In the other drawer, I've got my gas mate, my fumes, and just some other essentials. And yeah. Here in the back seat, you will find the fridge where we have taken out the seats and put this. This is where you'll find me most of the time, and it's just got all of the best stuff you can dream of. It is obviously powered by solar. Got the safeties, got the essentials, got the tools. This is here just to hold the door open. Got backpacks and got backpacks. Over on the other side, we have put carpet down just so you can see that. And this is my dresser. You just got to give it a yank. It's got all of my undies, bathers, socks and shit, toilet stuff, all of my nice smelly girl shit. Yeah, all the good stuff. Here's all the most precious and things that I don't want to get wet. And dirty washing, self-explanatory. So next to the bed here, we've got the tool shed, and this is obviously where the tools are. It's got some of my shoes, my gummies, a lot of the oils and stuff that you need for the engine, but I'm actually not allowed to be touching any of it. Don't worry guys, it's not actually abuse. So this is where I keep my clothes in a suitcase, and I usually just chuck it back up there, as well as my chair, shout out Tash, and my carpet, shout out Nadia. So yeah, everything just goes back in there, and when we leave, that's it. Oh, by the way, that's just my noodles. So obviously I can't go around and show you everything that I do have, but if you have any questions, I'm very happy to go through it with you. Please leave a comment for anything that I can improve, or something that you have an idea that could be better. That would be sick. Anyways, yeah, cheers for watching all this way. Congratulations. Sick!
Once upon a time, Australia believed in public housing, in giving people a safe, stable place to live, in protecting the vulnerable, in building communities, but then came the sell-offs, the budget cuts, the ideology that said the market knows best. And now, public housing is a ghost of what it once was. Tens of thousands of people are on waiting lists. Some wait 5, 10, even 15 years, and while they wait, they couch surf. They sleep rough, they spiral. Not because they're lazy, not because they're broken, but because the government decided housing should be profitable, not protective. They sold off homes, froze construction, outsourced responsibility. And now they act shocked when the streets are full. When families are living in tents, when kids are doing homework in motel rooms, but this isn't a surprise. It's the result of decades of deliberate neglect. Public housing didn't fail. It was abandoned, starved, politicized. And the people who needed it most, they were left behind. Because in modern Australia, if you can't afford to compete, you don't get to live, you get to survive.
Hey, sorry guys, I don't mean to bug you. Me and my community, we make these backpacks for people that might be on the street. There's like hand sanitizers, a few shirts and stuff like that inside there, snacks and everything like that. Would that help you guys a bit? Yeah, sure. Usually we do female and male ones, but I've only got 2 male ones left. Is that all right? Yeah, cool. Just so you guys know, I record everything that I do just because I got a bit of a platform on the internet, so I make videos sort of trying to raise awareness and stuff. So I don't give out money or anything like that. But what I also do though is I'll buy you guys anything you want for lunch. I used to be homeless myself, so I try and give people the option. Do you guys just want some food from me? Guys, grab a chicken and a couple other things for you. Would that help?
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, cool. I'll go in there. I'll come back in a second. All right, too easy. I saw they were eating some Doritos, buying some CCs. They're better than Doritos anyway. And so we'll just grab a couple of these. Sweet chili tenders. Oh, we've got a bunch of chicken. Got some chips and stuff like that. They're just here, so it's not too far away. I got you some chicken, some chips and stuff like that. A couple of Cokes. The only thing I usually ask people as well is like, look, I was on the street myself in New South Wales and I was a lot younger. With me and my mum, we spent years on the street. I try and ask people, because I'm not from Victoria, what do you think someone like me can do to help people that are on the street here? Or what do you think that I can try and get the government to do a little bit better, just because I know it can be hard? Housing?
I've tried to get housing for the last 4 years. When COVID hit, sort of went sideways.
Yep.
But there's people out there that have got housing, but they say, no, I don't like this one. They moved from Williamstown to a brand new one in Werribee South.
Yep.
Oh no, I don't like that. And then they get given another one, and all they do is sit and drink in the park.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So people, you're saying that people that do get the opportunities need to respect it a lot more? Yeah, okay.
And they trash the joints. And
Yeah, well, a lot of people that I speak to, they say that the places where you can go, the crisis accommodation, stuff like that, it's a lot of people treat it like a party house, right?
And you go there, and they're not the type of people want to be around in the first place.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys, and this is all you. Stuff in the backpack over there. If you guys don't mind me posting this video, it's what I do to try and raise awareness and stuff, so excellent. All right, guys.
Cheers for that, bro.
Not a problem. So this is where you live? He said I'll bring his bag over here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Put your plastic one in there too.
He's gonna tie it on. He lives in the boat?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is how he brings it, takes it down, shopping. And how does he get down? Don't tell me he climbs down. Wow. Oh man, this is crazy. Oh wow. So how does he get down there? Don't tell me those letters. That letter there.
This is better than you'll see on TV.
Sorry, what was your name? What's your name?
Tom. I'm Paul Mitchell.
Tom.
Paul. C-O-L.
C-O-L. Cole.
Paul, yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, Cole. I'm just trying to find how you're going to get down there.
Oh, you don't.
No, you're not going down there, are you? You are? Oh my gosh. Bro. Cole, this is how you get... Bro.
And do you leave these up here, Cole?
Oh man. I'm just watching it, bro. It's just... Damn. Oh my god, I've got... Cole, you're...
Got a big problem here in Australia, and I don't know where in the world you are, but in Australia, this has become a really, really big problem. Now, you mightn't currently own your own home. I know I certainly don't. And the rent increase keeps going up. This year alone, we've had another rent increase, and it jumped by $40. That's $40 a week, so that's $80 a fortnight. That is $160 extra a month that we have to come up with. Now, I don't know about you and what you currently pay in rent, but I can tell you right now that when the rent crisis is at a situation where it is more than 52% of 100% of your income, we're in a bit of a financial strife. We really are in this country. There are that many people that are homeless. We live on the beautiful South Coast. We have a Rotary Park not far from here. And there are currently, that I know of, over 14 different people living in this Rotary Park. These are everyday average people just like you and I, who either one, have lost their homes, they can't get housing. I mean, did you know that even, this is how sad it's gotten here in Australia, that it is so sad that now when you go online looking for a place to rent, not only one is it absolutely nearly impossible to actually get a place to rent, but when you do, and it might say in the ad that it's $500 a week, $450 a week, $600 a week, whatever it might be, you're actually in competition with somebody who's got more money than you to offer for a weekly rent. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. So if I'm going to go and apply for another place to live at, and it says $450 on that advert, I'm expecting it's going to be $450, but I'm going to get outbidded on the quiet, mind you, on the quiet by somebody who can offer $600. They're going to get that place over myself. Now, that is a huge problem that we have here in Australia. And I'm just thankful that I've started digital marketing last year. I have been in the online space before, but I can tell you now that if digital marketing wasn't here, I can see that it would be very difficult for many. So if you're looking for a financial income online to earn a little bit of extra cash, then digital marketing can do that for you. I mean, if you could earn an extra $100 a week or an extra $100 a month, wouldn't that help? Like right now, I currently know that by us paying an extra $40 a week, that's $80 a fortnight extra. It's $160 a month. I don't see the pays going up $160 extra in your pay packet. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, are you getting supplemented from your workplace because, you know, the shopping has gone up, because your rent has increased? I doubt it. So you need to find that extra cash. Yeah, the problem with that also is that if you go out and get a second job, you're going to get taxed twice as much. But you can learn digital marketing. You can start your own online business, and who knows where it could take you 1 year from now. You could be working full-time on your own business and you don't have that 9-to-5 job to rely on. It's just food for thought, people. But yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest because I just can't believe how outrageous it really is here in Australia right now with the rent increases. It's disgusting.
In place now, the people that are actually living here home to a place where they can get a free breakfast, so they're not here at the moment. So I'm not putting anyone specifically, you know, they're themselves on show. But the reason I want you to film this is we're a country that's pretty well off, right? And we've got people living like this. We've got women with situations where they're more safer on the street than they are in their own home, where partners are coming home drinking or using and abusing, you know. But what I want to say to you is that if you go by Martin Place or any place in the city and you see someone with a setup minutes to stop and introduce yourself, get to know their name, and you know, buy them something to eat. What I do is I buy gift cards. They're called non-essential gift cards, right? Just put a red back on it. That way they won't buy cigarettes or tobacco with it. They you know, essential things like bread, milk, food, something to eat, socks, undies. The other thing that's very handy to give out, I give out underpants, socks, beanies, gloves, blankets, sleeping bags, toiletries, you know, face wash, shampoo, conditioner, women's products. So if you have any of those things around the home, just stick them in a little bag, and as you're going by, just stop by and just say, hi, my name's John, and I'd like to introduce myself, and here I've got a couple of things that might be helpful to you. You'll be surprised how kind and receptive they are to you, and because when I grew up on the streets, I used to get people walk by me and say, hey mate, why don't you go home to your mummy? I didn't have that option. You know, here we have another one, you know. These are scattered all throughout the city, everywhere you look. This is genuinely what people are living like on the streets in homelessness. This shouldn't be happening in Australia, guys. Let's all do our part, and the part that we need to play, the most important part, is just human decency, man, being kind. Hi, my name is such and such, what's your name? Reach down, shake their hand, and a nice, warm, gentle smile. What I try to do is get down, so they're seated down, I sit down beside them. I don't stand so I'm towering over people, and you'll be surprised at the reception you get. The very minimum we can do in Australia, guys, is show a little bit of kindness. The second thing we can do is get to hear somebody's story, get to know what their circumstances is, and if we all do that in our own towns or where we live, we're already going to make a difference. And the second thing you can do is get to know your local member, get to know your local agencies, so that you can speak to them and say, hey, listen, I've met John who's on the streets here at wherever it is you live, and this is his situation, you know, and you know, you might be able to just help them. You know, like if each of us, there's a saying that I love, right, is no one can help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And the other one that I think is an important one is shame dies when stories are told in safe places. So create safe environments for people to share their journeys with you, so that we can make a difference, you know. I'm just one man with a warrior here, Jacinta, who comes down on the street and helps me. You'll say hi again, sorry. Hi. And Jacinta, you know, only a young person, but yet she comes out and gives her time, helps me wander the streets of Sydney, and I just love that there's a young person out there that's not got her head stuck in a telephone or out being selfish. She's actually selfless, comes out and wants to learn, asks lots of questions, and she's so kind to people. Anyway, have a good day, people.
They told you Australia was fair, that if you worked hard, followed the rules, paid your taxes and stayed out of trouble, you'd be okay, that the system was built to protect you, that homelessness was rare, that it only happened to people who made bad choices. But now you see the tents, the sleeping bags, the cardboard signs, the faces behind the statistics, and you realize they lied, because this isn't rare. It's everywhere, it's growing, it's accelerating, and it's not just happening to other people, it's happening to workers, to families, to seniors, to students, to people who did everything right and still got crushed. This isn't just a housing crisis, it's a moral collapse. A slow motion disaster engineered by decades of policy failure, economic neglect, and political cowardice. And the people in charge? They're still pretending it's complicated, still calling it unfortunate, still blaming everything except themselves. But let's be clear, this didn't happen by accident, it happened by design. The government stopped building public housing, stopped regulating rent, stopped funding mental health services, stopped protecting the vulnerable, and started selling off homes, deregulating markets, outsourcing responsibility, privatizing survival. They turned housing into a business, shelter into a commodity, human dignity into a transaction. And now the consequences are everywhere. Families living in tents, workers sleeping in cars, seniors couch surfing, young people giving up on independence, and still the government insists the system is under pressure. No, the system is collapsing, and the people being crushed by it, They're not invisible, they're just inconvenient. They'll tell you homelessness is about addiction, about mental illness, about personal failure, but that's a distraction, a deflection, a convenient excuse to avoid accountability. Because the truth is, most people experiencing homelessness today are victims of economics, not character. Victims of rent hikes, stagnant wages, inflation, and a government that decided survival should cost more than a full-time paycheck. This is what happens when leadership becomes PR, when policy becomes theatre, when compassion becomes optional, when the people in power treat suffering like a budget line. And the worst part, they still expect you to be grateful, to stay quiet, to keep working, to keep paying, to keep pretending, but you don't owe them silence, you don't owe them patience, you don't owe them anything because they failed you. They failed your family, they failed your community, they failed your country, and now it's time to say it out loud. Australia is in crisis, not because of war, not because of disaster, but because of decisions, choices, priorities, because the people in power chose profit over people, chose comfort over courage, chose delay over action, and the people are paying for it every day, in every way. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. You're not alone. Millions are struggling. Millions are angry. Millions are waking up. And when enough people wake up, the system shakes. So let it shake. Let the outrage rise. Let the truth spread. Let the silence break. Because this crisis isn't just economic. It's personal. It's emotional. It's existential. And it demands more than sympathy. It demands accountability. It demands change. Not tomorrow. Not next term. Not after another inquiry. Now. Because Australians aren't just surviving. They're resisting. They're organising. They're speaking out. They're demanding better. And that's where hope lives. Not in policy papers, not in press conferences, but in people, in solidarity, in truth. So if you're struggling, know this, it's not your fault. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not alone. You're living in a system that was never built to protect you. But you're still here, still fighting, still refusing to disappear. And that's power. Use it.